I attend in person, I tend to pay more attention. At home, there's always something to distract me.
Okay. So isn't really a problem if my battery died while I was.
We're on recording, so no, nothing, it will be fine. All right, if you need me, I'll be in my office.
Sure. Hi, Christine.
Hi, I was wondering if you're going to notice you were muted.
Someone charged me $2. So, yeah, we had that lasted an hour over here. So Alex luckily is doing those that started at 4:00. So, and Mark's coming back. His computer's doing updates as well.
Oh, boy. Murphy's Law.
We have a relatively quick audit committee meeting, luckily, and this is typically our holiday dinner, but we get our audit committee and get to enjoy that.
I know. Apologies.
Don't apologize. Technology.
Yep.
I was telling Mr. Hammond, this one, we're putting 40 in-floor outlets throughout ours.
Yeah, make sure mine's fully charged now, so.
Mine was, but I left it on, so I charged yesterday.
I plugged mine in before I went to work just to make sure that it's going to be charged for the night. When I left this morning, my husband said, "You're leaving it on." I said, "Leave it on."
Excellent. We'll jump right in. Okay. We got Christine on with us. No pressure, you're full screen.
Oh, no, that's not ever a good look. Dr. Davy, put your camera away.
The board enjoys pictures of you in the transmittal, Christine, so we'll work on one for today.
Now, somebody's got to be the source of some entertainment, so okay.
Okay, so I will get the meeting started. First item up is just our timeline. February 10th is our next meeting. At that meeting is where we tend to just talk about what's upcoming. Towards year end, we'll probably talk about reserves and so on and so forth, how we're looking, where we're tracking. If we were doing an RFP, we would request that at that time, but we just recently did our RFP and moved with Weston Company for our external audit firm. And then in May is when we meet with Weston Company, Mike and Amy, and we'll talk about a entrance conference at that time. So jumping into our first item, we have our audit committee meeting highlights from October. And this was the exit conference with Mike and Amy, as well as meeting with payroll auditor and our claims auditor at the last meeting. So that's our heavy meeting typically. So we have quite a bit happening, and you got the extensive minutes there. Kudos Christine and Michelle Perry Scott taking care of it. Questions, comments? I'll accept a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I guess I'll second that.
And they're all in favor.
Excellent.
Everybody in
You
attendance.
don't know how hard it is when I'm sitting there at the local board meeting and they want something approved and I want to, yeah.
As an observer, yeah.
Yes.
Next item is our correct plan for our external audit. So when the auditors were here last time, they discussed two items as part of our, and I referenced two, but 2 items as part of our management letter that we needed to address. So 2 findings. As part of those findings, we're required by law to have a corrective action plan. We must submit that corrective action plan to the board for review. And then we submit it to the state education department as well. And we submit our corrective action plan on those findings. Then they have an opportunity to ask us questions, feedback, and so on and so forth. And then Weston Company, when they come in as part of their audit next year, they will pull these findings up. They will review them thoroughly and see if we fix the problem, what we've done, how we've done it. And they're going to dive in deep again, and then they'll let you know how we correct it every now. With all that being said, the first item is actually a recurring item, which was they noted that deficits are being run in the adult education COSER. And they came back with a status to say that we actually corrected that condition. However, other COSERs have changed from positive to negative throughout the year. So we've written up that corrective action plan there. And what I will tell you to the board, and I have our surplus report right here. We were aware of COSERs that were going to run into the negative. Again, we deal with over 100 different COSERs that we run on an annual basis. As we go through the years, there's some that do come up and we know we're going to have potentially have a negative. Our typical steps and what we did in this matter was we actually bring it up to our CSOs. We share with them, this is what's happening in the COSER. We know it's running in the negative. Here's some options. What do you think? How would we like to progress? One that I'd like to bring your attention in the biggest COSER with a negative for the year was our 602 health insurance and workers' compensation COSER. So we ended the year with a deficit of $18,000 in that COSER. But last year we made a determination of there's certain things that we wanted done for the workers' compensation consortium. And we asked the CSOs, do you want it? Do you want to do the certain, and really this consultant fees was the biggest piece of it. We had Siegel do additional work for us, do like sheet reports and dive into our financials and really get details for us. We also had an RFP process that ran last year, which Siegel ran to change from Excel to Empire. So in the middle of the year, we presented to the CSOs, Dr. Davey and myself, it actually was in February, and we said, this is where we're tracking. And at that time, we had presented to them, we had told them we were looking more around the $65,000 to $70,000 deficit mark. We were able to incur some savings due to the pandemic, and we came out at the end of the year with $18,000. As part of that, Mark also shares with the CSOs to say, however, in our admin budget, we know we're running a surplus. We know right now in our admin budget, we have a surplus. And that, whatever that negative is, we know we can make it up in our admin budget. So at that time, 65 to 70,000, we were projecting as a loss. But at the end of the day, on the surplus report, we know at this time we've made changes and we're incurring savings on our admin budget to cover those costs. So the response back from them was, yes, let's do it. Let's go that way. Let surplus, and then we'll shake it, see how it shakes out at that time. The other option we have is we presented to them, we can amend the rate as well. We can change our budget, amend the rate during the year. We chose not to go that route. And that's just one example. That's our largest negative of our COSERs outs that we had at the end of the year. Our admin budget surplus ended up being $187,000 to the good surplus. Like I said, the 602 COSER was at negative. Our net surplus at the end of the year was 1.3 million. So we had some COSERs that ran in negative. We do have that typically in a year where we'll have COSERs that run in negative, but we're always weighing the other COSERs around it. And we're always being transparent, communicated to the board, but as well to our CSOs, probably most importantly to our CSOs, and keep them updated as we track through the years. So what you'll see in there is our response is that we constantly monitor our COSERs. We had discussions with the budget committee last week in regards to COSERs that are running in negative currently and what we're doing and steps we're taking those negatives throughout the year. So that's something we monitor regularly. We make adjustments and we make tweaks. At the end of the day, we try to be transparent with it and have those discussions with our superintendents. That's that first finding. Am I going to tell you that this year it's going to go away? I'm going to tell you that we're projecting the budget committee certain negative coasters already, and some that we're projecting will end in a deficit. So how are we offsetting those costs? And in particular, special education, there's some negatives, but there's other coasters that tie into the same classrooms or programs that help to make it a net even or a net positive. And that's going to be at the end of the day, always our push to not charge extra to our school districts and have that net positive. So it's a constant, monitoring, adjusting, but always being on top of our coasters. Yeah.
So it's at fiscal year, or whatever it is, we can look at, it doesn't have, you don't really like take the surplus from one place and put it on to the negative. That's how it's done. I mean, I know that like with your now, but when you have those special funds, you can't move those into certain places, but this is okay.
So what we do is we actually don't move it. So we let it flow through to the end, and we tell the districts it's negative. So we just let them know that there's another one that's going to be positive. Okay. So we still show them separate.
It's kind of
we still say, yep, we run into a negative and we show it as a negative, but realize that at this point in time, we're telling you, we know we have other places that are going to be greater. And so
I got you now.
Yeah. Yep. But good point. Good night on that.
You answered that correctly, Eric.
Oh, thank you. Judge and jury right there. The next item was a condition that we had previously, and that condition was met. So there is no response needed to that. We have corrected that within the year. So there's no corrective action plan needed. On the backside, the new finding for the current year was a personnel file item that they discussed with us last meeting. So our team is actively going through all personnel files now. So we have a 2-person team doing those checks to review to see if there is anything missing. And if there is, we're getting those files and putting them into the personnel files. We've also reached out to WinCap, which is our financial software, as well as our HR software that we use for tracking. And we're asked them different modules that may be available for digital filing of these items. So that way we don't have to keep all these paper copies. It's just with their name in WinCap. We had a great conversation with Mike and Amy, the auditors, on digital files, what we can have, what we can't have. We've also met with other BOCES to see what are they doing to try to improve. So we're trying to learn from others as well, digitize where we can. But our first step right now is going through all those files to make sure we have the consistency that's needed. So that's what that corrective action plan there is. And that's really, to the extent of it, their comment was that it was inconsistent documents from file to file, and we're diving in and cleaning that up. Any questions on that corrective action item? Hi, Mr. McCabe.
Hi. Had a little trouble getting on here.
Yeah, we had we fired up the meeting a little bit late. Our computer here took about an hour to boot up, so our computer didn't turn on and open the meeting until probably 5 after or 8 after 5. So welcome.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us too. It's nice to have our 3 board members here as well. So excellent.
So with that being said, I would just from the committee moving these corrective action items to the board. So tonight on the board agenda is an item for the board to actually approve our corrective action plan. And then we'll task Christine with submitting this to the state education department and reporting it. So if you're comfortable with this, and ask for a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Okay. So we'll move that forward to the board. I'll give a quick update, very quick, because they've already heard what the findings were. I'll give a brief update of our meeting at the board at the beginning. If any committee members want to jump in, or Dr. Davey will give the update. And if any committee members want to jump in and add anything, feel free to do so. We do welcome that. Here's an item not on the agenda, and Dr. Dave and I were talking about it yesterday. We got so really this is 3B, I guess. So yesterday we got a call from the New York State Comptroller's office. So we knew we were getting audited, but we got a call yesterday because they had told us it's going to start probably in January, sometime in January. They called us and said that they have an employee who has been assigned to our audit. So I did ask who it was and where are they. So for the board's information, we do have someone who is about 3 hours away, who was recently hired by the Comptroller's office, who has been assigned to start diving into our files. So out of the blue, we got a phone call and then a list of items, documents that they wanted to see. So we are working on providing that for them. So our audit has officially begun. Going through that work with the Comptroller's office. So the beginning part of this audit will be really data gathering. So there's new employees looking at all our board minutes, looking at our website, pulling every file that they can, and then they'll get a download of all of our employees, the payroll items, accounts payable. They pull documentation for almost everything this year. They're going to analyze the data to see if there's any areas of concern or anything that they see that could be of higher risk. They will do that in a targeted, deeper dive into a different area of our organization. So right now they skim over everything in the current year, and then they'll figure out what they want to look at. These audits can typically last 6 months or longer. Being that we have a new auditor on this, it could be even longer. They tend to be slower. Also, we did talk with that person's supervisor, the auditor who would be in charge, who did previously audit the BOCES at the last Comptroller's office. He is back on the job. However, he's on a different job. So he won't be with us until January as expected previously. So he'll be joining at this time. Or at that time, sorry. And Christina and I did joke with him that you started a new auditor at a BOCES, which is a lot more complicated than a district. And I asked them if they want to keep the person because it's going to be a challenge. But there'll be a learning curve. There'll be a big learning curve. Our team is up to the challenge. We've been prepping them and preparing them for this audit. And we will be educating them on what we do, how we do it. And we look forward to the audit because at the end of the day, they're going to give us recommendations to improve. So they are going to dive into every piece and cranny of our organization. But at the end of this audit, we will find something out about our organization. We may have had a hole, we may have had a crack, and we will fill it and we'll get better from it and we'll improve from it. And while the auditor in charge, the supervisor is on site, which they won't be on site, they're going to do it remotely. But while he's on the job, we tend to use them as sounding boards, have discussions, and really talk about every part of our organization as free consulting. Because they go into every single district, they're in multiple BOCES. So we tend to look at it as an opportunity to grow, learn, and improve. And that's what we're going to take this as. And like kudos to our team in management services. I thank them ahead of time for taking on the challenge that this will bring because it's going to be just additional work for them. But again, Christine, myself, under Dr. Davies' leadership, will grow from this. We'll learn and we'll find stuff out about our organization where we can get better. As we go through that process, and if you have questions, I'll hesitate to ask. Future meeting dates, like I said, 10th is our next one. What we'll probably do is give you an update on our Comptroller's audit. We'll throw that on the agenda as well. So we look forward to seeing you at that one. And who knows what it'll be, in-person, hybrid. But with that, anything else for the good of the order?
No.
I just want to thank Mrs. Myers and Mr. Bell and team for all the work that went in, the corrective action and wrapping up the end of the year and our final audit. And Mrs. Myers, you're the tip of the spear on that, and you rally the troops and all the audit, all our accountants. So I just want to thank you and Mr. Bell for all the leadership you've shown and the thorough work. There's always something that that is identified, whether it's, the smallest thing ever. And in this case, they were very minor recommendations, but they're things that can still help us get a little bit better. Every little bit is a good step. And I just want to thank, Mr. Myers and Mr. Bell and all our own team for all the work that went into this, as well as our Weston Company auditor, who did a great job as usual. So thank you to all of them, and also our audit committee members as well for your support in this process.
Thank you, Dr. Davey.
We appreciate your work, Christine.
It's definitely a team effort, and I should have known when we didn't get very many comments that it was too good to be true, because then OSC decides to come in, and I'm sure they'll have way more fun finding things. But I looking, and we've evaluated, there's very few things that I think anything of major substance, that we would have to be concerned about. So I think we're in a great position going forward, and we're not too stressed out about it because of that. So it's a good feeling to have. But really, truly, I can't say enough about this team and management services and Eric. It's a really great team. So I can only take 1/13 of the credit for all this, because everybody really just pulled together to make this happen. So thank you.
You're the top person.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. And we'll call the meeting at 5:27.
Sounds good.
And I,
Christine, we'll see you in the morning.
Thank you, Christine.
welcome.
Mrs. Myers, good night. Thank you.
And Mr. McCabe, I'm going to work on loading up the board meeting next.
Okay.
So that way we can open that up. If you want to try to sign on, we'll get that opened next, okay?
Sure. And I usually try to get on like 5 or 10 minutes before it's due, right?
Yeah, you should be good then. We'll open.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
So do we stop the video? Stop the video.
We gotta get you.